for accreditation, or maybe we have to send it to some third party, or maybe we have to send it to our department heads, or maybe for some other requirement. It could also be a requirement in our research that we do some amount of data analytics, and generally to do data analytics, either we should be very good with Excel, or we should be very good at using some programming language like Python, which again might not be the case because हमारी expertise different field में है. So these are some of the places where we can leverage tools like ChatGPT, Gemini quite well. So we look at some of those examples and see what are the different things that we can do. Also at Microsoft Copilot, because Microsoft Copilot is this new thing which is evolving quite fast in Microsoft's new products, and then they make our lives pretty easy, right? So mainly we'll cover like how can we create visualizations, how can we analyze data, those kind of things, right? Again, I'll be using ChatGPT, but I would suggest you can use ChatGPT or Gemini. Generally, Perplexity I have seen is not very good for data analytics because Perplexity's main purpose is to answer questions for us, right? So if you have one question around data, it can do a very good job. But the entire workflow that I'm going to be sharing with you, generally it's very difficult to execute it on Perplexity. But ChatGPT or Gemini, these two tools do a very good job. Um, so I have a couple of sample data that I would be using, right? This data I have created myself, and some of the data I have got online just to show you like what are the different things we can do. So in this first use case, basically we have students' information, like how much marks they have got and things like that. And we might be interested in, finding out maybe what is the average, what is the total marks, so on and so forth. So these things we can use AI for as well. So the first thing is within the Excel itself, कि can we find out कि कौन सा formula use करना है. So for that, what we can do is first let's try using Copilot. तो अगर आपके पास लेटेस्ट वर्जन है Office 365 का, और वो हम ऐसे चेक कर सकते हैं, we can go here to the home, to the file button, and then go to accounts and see हम कौन सा वर्जन यूज कर रहे हैं. If this is Office Microsoft 365, then this is the latest version. But this can also say maybe Microsoft Office 2020, 2023 and all that. So in that case it might not work. We need Microsoft Office 365 for this to work. But the reason I want to share this with you is even if you don't have Microsoft 365 right now, within next 6 to 1 year, you will be using Microsoft 365 because Microsoft is slowly Microsoft has stopped supporting other versions. They want all the people to be using Microsoft 365 right now. And the good thing about this tool is it has AI inbuilt. So when I go to the Home tab, I can see this data or this Copilot option on the right hand side, right? So I can click on Copilot, and then you can see a chat button opens up. For Copilot to work, generally this information should be saved to Microsoft Cloud. Looks like something has gone wrong. Okay. So I need to save it in my drive. So once I have saved it in my drive, we can see this autosave option is turned on, and this will enable me to use Copilot. So I can say things like, in column G, can you add total marks of all subjects? So it is trying to understand the data. Then it is going to make some recommendations. It is looking at the table. It has highlighted it, the table that it's going to use. And then let's see what it does. So it suggests that, looking at A1 to F21 on sheet 1. Here is one column, one formula, column to review and insert column G, and then it gives me the formula. So rather than me having to remember each and every formula, basically it can do that work for me. And then I can go click on insert column and we can see the total marks column has appeared. Similarly, I can ask it to grade students based on a particular logic. I can ask it to calculate average, और अगर और कुछ करना है तो वो सब चीजें भी कर सकते हैं. But I understand, that this tool is not available with all of us to use. So I also want to show you like how this can be done using ChatGPT, right? So I'll just close this. Um, and this is the data that we'll be using, right? So I'll go to ChatGPT. So there are two things I can do. Either I can copy paste the data here, or I can upload the entire file, right? And I can say, I want to add a totals column in column G, right? Can you give me the formula for MS Excel? तो अगर आप Google Sheet यूज कर रहे हैं तो you can mention in Google Sheets. If you're using Excel, you can say in Excel. And we have uploaded the document so that it understands, what all columns are there and what all information it has to play with, right? So it just gave me the formula, and it will also give me the instructions, right? In cell G2, enter this formula. So I'll just copy it. I'll just open it on the left and right side so we can see both. So column G2, which is this one. So I'll go and paste the formula, and it is giving me the total. Apply to all rows, type the formula in G2, drag the fill handle bottom right corner of the cell down and apply it to all rows, right? So I can just drag it, come all the way, and the work is done, right? And then I can call it total marks. Similarly, let's say if I wanted something complicated, right? I want to add a grades column in column G. Can you give me the formula in Microsoft Excel? And then I can add notes. So here I have not specified that, these marks are out of what. Even if I give it to a human, they might not be sure. They can assume that, these marks are out of 30 because that is the highest. But it is always a good practice to explicitly mention this, right? I will delete this column. So I'm going to add a couple of notes here. One, all marks are out of 100 or out of 30, right? Grades are based on total. 3, if student scores above 90%, then A, and then I would say something like 80 to 90%, then B, then let's say 70 to 80% C, and then I would say, let's say 50 to 70% D, and then less than 50%, let's say F, right? So it's a step 1, total marks column. If each student has multiple scores all out of 30, first calculate the total in column F, but column F is already populated. So I can either say that, F is already populated or whatever. But what it's trying to say is first I have to calculate total and then I have to calculate this. So I will say so since it made a mistake there, I'm just clarifying it. I'm saying, give me a formula to do this in one cell. Please note D to F are the scores. It had assumed that, basically B to E has score for some reason. So it has given me a formula. So I can just copy this, bring it here and paste it. And then I can have scores for all the. So this is like one way that we can use for data analytics, right? If we have, but the another way, and I would say the better way of using this tool is what we can say is, rather than doing this, when we upload an Excel sheet, first we can get the relevant data, put it in the system, and then tell ChatGPT, can you explain this data to me, right? So first it is going to try and understand like what are the different columns, what are the different things that are available here. So it says, score in English out of 30, maths out of 30, science out of 30. So it has inferred that scores are out of 30. So it has actually gone one step ahead of what I was asking it to do. This is what the columns look like, right? And then I can go and tell what I want to do, right? So I want to do the following: add column for total marks, right? Add column for total percentage, add column for grades, right? And then I can say above 80%, it can be A, and then above 60%, I can say it can be B, and then above 40%, I can say it is C, and then less than 40%, I can say maybe F, right? And then I can say, give it to me as a downloadable file. So we have just given it instructions, right? Key, what all do we need? And you can download the updated file here. So I can go and download this. Right, and it has added all the relevant columns for it. Only thing is, these don't have formulas attached to them. It is something that ChatGPT has basically calculated for us and then put the actual values itself, right? So we can do analysis like this. We can do much more deeper analysis as well. Another thing that we can do is we can even go one step ahead and say, can you give me a graph showing top 5 students for each subject. So how this actually works is, every time I ask it to do something, it writes a piece of code, which is generally in Python. Then whatever is the output of that code, by running it on the Excel sheet that I have provided, it generates these images, right? So here is what it has created. So if we have a look at this, top 5 students in English: Rohan, Dev, Vihan, Pranav, Riya, and how much they have scored. Top 5 students in maths, top 5 students in science. And if you want to do any other analysis on top of this, that is also possible. So I'll show you some of the complicated use cases as well. So this was the first one. If we see the second Excel sheet that I have, it has a lot more information. So it has an ID, first name, last name, email, gender, whether they're doing a part-time job, how many days have they been absent, extracurricular activities, self-study hours, career aspirations, score in maths, history, physics, chemistry, right? Biology, English, geography, so on and so forth. So it has a data for 2,000 students. So if we see, it goes till 2001. So there's data for around 2,000 students in this. So what we can do is basically take this and put it in ChatGPT, follow a similar structure. So one of the reasons that I ask it explicitly, can you explain about the data for me, is a very good rule of thumb when we're using AI is don't assume anything. Give it very explicit step by step instructions. So it's like, even if I was asking, if I was giving this task to a student, I would have given them a set of instructions, right? Key first, try to understand what kind of data that you're using, right? What kind of insights you can derive from it. Then try to create these 3 or 4 kind of charts. So I should explain to ChatGPT also in a similar manner, right? So first I said, can you explain this data for me? So it went, looked at the Excel sheet, and now it says, there are 2,000 students, there are 17 columns. There are three data types here. 10 of them are numeric, 5 of them are categorical, 2 of them are Boolean, right? Key statistics. These are the key statistics for each and everything, right? So now what I'm doing is basically I want to use this data, let's say, for a parents teacher meeting, that I want to create a dashboard and show them whether there's any correlation between self study and marks in maths, or self study and career aspirations. I want to do those kind of analysis. So I can go and say things like, right? So I'm creating a dashboard from this data for PTA meeting. Can you tell me what kind of graphs and insights would be useful, right? If you need anything specific, obviously you can explicitly state it. But let's say you want to do certain kind of analysis on top of this data, and you're trying to get ideas like what kind of insights you can derive from it. Even those things are possible using AI tools, right? So overall student performance, as bar chart, box plot, show how students are performing across subjects, help identify students, right? Student engagement, weekly self-study hours versus average score. So this looks like an interesting one, right? Average score for extracurricular participations. So I can choose which one I want. So let's say this one looks interesting to me. And then bar chart of average score for part-timers, right? Um, and then it talks about demographic and career aspiration, pie chart bar of career aspiration. This seems something relevant to me, right? Individual student focus, like radar spider chart for each student, comparison table. And I also want to, let's say, something that it has not mentioned. I want to find correlation between self-study and marks and maths. I want to do a comparative analysis of average scores for part-time and non-part-time. Uh, I also want to understand impact of absent absence and overall score, right? So, okay, scattered plot, this is what it is going to do. Comparative analysis, this is what it is going to do, so on and so forth. So next I can say, can you go ahead and create these for me as a, okay, just let's create these for me. So again, it thought for some time about how it can achieve what we are asking it to do. Then next, it is writing bunch of Python code, and generally the code it writes is very good, right? And it is very easy to even read through it and understand what it is trying to do. So that's the good part of it. So just by reading, like we can understand what it's trying to do here and make up our mind whether this is the right approach or not, right? So single plot figure, no style, explicit colors, load and prepare the data set. So I don't need to understand programming to basically read these comments, right? Help us scatter with regression and Pearson correlation, right? Self study versus average score, self study versus maths, average score by part time job, bar overall scores for part time jobs, so on and so forth. And we can see it has created all the charts for it. So we can see generally people who have more self study hours also have an average high score, right? And self study hours versus math score, there's definitely a correlation with 0.39. And for overall score is 0.5, which shows like a moderate to a strong moderate correlation. Overall score for part timers, people who are not part timers have a slightly higher average on average, whereas the ones who are not, right? So student count for part timers, there are 316 part timers, 1684 non part timers. Average study hours we can compare, right? And then we also have this distribution of career aspiration. We can see most of them want to be software engineer, right? And then we can even go ahead, and if you want, we can download all of these images, right? And I can also say, can you turn this into a report? And I'll turn on the canvas so that there is kind of like an editor where it is going to put this kind of information. So this is not just something that you can do for students data, but like anywhere that you might need some amount of data cleaning, or you might need to basically get insights from data, or you might need to create charts from data. Both ChatGPT and Gemini can help you with this. Only limitation is in the free version. I think in ChatGPT you can create maybe 2 or 3 graphs, but Gemini is much more flexible, and the workflow remains the same in Gemini, right? Just like how we are asking it to do things one by one, you can follow the same pattern in Gemini. I would say don't use Perplexity for it so much, because Perplexity has a different objective. If you have a simple question that you want to upload basically a PDF, an upload a Excel sheet and just want to get like 1 or 2 insights from it, Perplexity does a very good job of it. But if you need to do a deep dive into this particular kind of data, add more columns, remove some data, like filter out some of the information, add new kind of information, then I would say ChatGPT and Gemini are much better, right? So let's have a look at this, right? So parent-teacher meeting report, self-study and academic performance finding, there is a moderate positive correlation between weekly self-study hours and average scores across the subjects. The correlation between self-study hour and math score is slightly weak, but still positive. Encourage students to increase effective self-study hours may lead to higher performance, especially in maths, right? Then these are the visualizations we can put, and all of this thing, right? So all of this analysis using AI as a co-pilot becomes so easier, right? So it's like right from the process of ideation about what are the different things that we can include in it, to basically the selection process of what actually do we need, to the next step, which is basically doing those analysis for us, and the next step that presenting it as a report, as figures, as diagrams, all of these things basically we can use AI to do today. So it's like we don't need to know any Python, we don't have to be an expert in using Excel, right? But we can still do a lot of these things pretty easily. So I have one more use case, but before I go there, I just want to check if there are any more questions. Okay. Are there any questions related to this? Or is there any kind of analysis that you might want me to do on top of this data? Like basically it can do everything from normal distribution curves to finding correlation, covariance. If you want to do any kind of analysis, like even if you don't have an idea about what kind of different analysis you can do, it can also suggest based on it.
Sir, we can
Yes, sir.
We can do research data analysis here.
Sorry, what kind of analysis, sir?
This is errors and all, standard error and all.
Yes, sir.
So
Yes, sir. All of that is possible. Yes, sir.
thank
So
you so
even
much.
if even if there is some form of custom analysis, and if you have a document on it, you can provide that document to ChatGPT and do that analysis as well. So it is pretty flexible, right? So another I have is a lot of time. What happens is generally we have to shift through a lot of data to arrive at the data that we really need. So generally, when we use Excel sheet, we use filters, we do manual sorting, we look through the data manually to see what is relevant, what is not relevant, uh, so forth. And a lot of the times, this data is in a format that we don't. It's not very human friendly to understand, right? So, for example, here is the data that I have, which I got online about all the CBSE colleges, so CBSE schools in the country, right? And it has a lot of columns, as you can see. So there is like library, right? Library length. There are a lot of different things. And let's say I have some specific requirements that I want to find out some particular kind of schools. So one way is I try to create a filter here, look at this data, and manually sort through this. Or the second thing is if I have an approach in mind, I can get AI to do this hard work for me. So how do we do that? So so again, I will load this data in my chat instance. Right. So data overview. The dataset contains 9,795 rows and 129 columns. Each row represents a school with detailed information about administration, infrastructure, affiliation, and facilities. And these are the different columns, right? This is the data quality, and this is what a sample record looks like, right? Now, let's say what I'm looking for is basically schools in Karnataka that have a swimming pool, just as a use case, right? You can also look for other things. So I can go ahead and specify that, so So I'm looking for schools in Karnataka only with swimming pool. How can we do that? So it says, perfect. Since the dataset already has state and facilities columns, so F swimming pool, we can filter it by Karnataka and swimming pool as yes, right? So it even gives me instructions on how to do it. But I can go again and say, so it's like, can you do this for me and give it to me as a CSV? And the reason I've asked for CSV is because this file is also a CSV file. I could have as well as asked for an Excel file or Google Sheet file or a document file, whatever I want. So let's go and look at this. So if we have a look at this, we can see all the states are going to be Karnataka, right? And somewhere here there would be like a swimming pool, um, which should be positive for all of them, like maybe one or true for all of them. What was it called? This column, right? This column. So all of these schools have a swimming pool. I can even go ahead and say,
हाँ, ये था ये यार, सांगतो मी.
So I'm only looking for school name, city, contact details, and swimming pool related info, so that all the other fields which are not relevant to me and are just clogging up my UI, I can also get rid of them, right? So it's like I have all the details. So this is not something which AI is trying to copy paste here. How it's doing it is it's basically copying this information. Basically, it has taken in the Excel sheet, and then it is writing a Python program. So it is as good as that I have written this Python program and I'm running it on this particular Excel sheet, and I can filter out the data very easily. And this can come in very handy when you're basically getting things like results for your students, and these data get updated like maybe every hour or every 2 hours, and you also want to do a comparative analysis. For example, you can upload two Excel sheets to this and say ki, hey, can you just show me data on the students, uh, who are the new students in this file. So you can do all those kind of analysis as well. And let's say, going back to our example of the PTA meeting, that it is something that you need to do again and again. So what you can do, I'll just go back to the old chat that we had created, right? So this is the analysis that we had done. And let's say this is something that you need to do every month or every quarter. So what you want to do is maybe create this system once, right? That, Excel sheet, the new Excel sheet will be created once a month, and every quarter you can do it. And then you can also do it every month, right? I think this is a Excel sheet. Upload this file, and it can create and show these charts to me. right now, right? So this is like an classic example of that. So it has created this. Let's go and have a look at this code and see what it looks like. So we can see there is an option called choose file, load and generate chart, reset, and then there are a bunch of figures here. So let's see whether it will work for us. Student scores, load and generate, and we have a website right now. So if our data changes, these figures will also change, right? So it is not like we'll have to go to ChatGPT and do the same thing again and again. We can also go and download this and run it from our own system for future use case. So we can see now it is running from my system, right? Anurag downloads and then the website. I can follow the same process, student scores, upload and generate. I'll get a file. Now I'll create a new file just to show that, this is a dynamic so let me just take 20 entries and I'll remove the rest. And then I can do reset, choose file, click on the copy which I had created, open, load and reset. And we can see there are only 20 data points now, right? And we can get the R score, everything pretty easily. And frankly speaking, it's like if we were creating this kind of report each and every time we were doing this job, it would have required us at least 3 to 4 hours of effort every time. But since we have put our thoughts in one place and made it operationalized using a web application, we have done it one and then we can keep using it as much as we want. And that's not it. It's like if we want to download these images and all of those things work within the website itself, right? So it can become it can save us a lot of time. Similarly, if you are doing any other analysis, maybe you are taking feedback from students and you want to put it in a kind of a dashboard kind of manner, this is like one way that you can easily create those reports, right? Because this website is a pretty good report in itself. And if you want to basically include these figures, all of those things can be done very easily. If you want it to look like branding of your college or any specific colors that you want, you can go back, have a conversation, right, with ChatGPT, that you can say things like, and if you want to add more figures, if you want to do any one particular kind of analysis, you can discuss all of those things with AI. And you just explain it in the natural language, and it is going to do the translation for you about how does it convert the things that you want into basically HTML and CSS. Right? And this, I have seen people make different kind of use cases from this. If you want to do like right from people who are doing stock market analysis to people basically who are creating dashboards for customers where different kind of data comes up and they want to see how the data is changing, or even like dashboards for the senior leadership, that the data comes from multiple sources and then it goes into a website and then it creates dashboards that are relevant to them. All of those things, all of those kind of things, reporting, data analytics, data filtering, going through the data, right? Similarly, you can also create a system where you have like options using which you can filter this particular data, right? So all of those things can be easily done. uh, so that is pretty much what I
Sir,
had. Please let me know if there are any questions.
सर
Yes sir.
हेलो
Yes sir.
सर, जो आपने फाइल डाउनलोड किया वो
जी सर.
अपने हमने हमारे पीसी से एग्जीक्यूट किया,
जी सर.
उसे प्लीज अगर उसे हम गूगल ड्राइव पे या हमारे वेबसाइट पे कैसे, इट मींस इट
सर.
शुड बी रेडी टू बी यूटिलाइज्ड बाय ऑल, या जो भी उसको यूटिलाइज करना चाहे, जैसे मुझे मेरे कॉलेज वेबसाइट पे या मेरे ब्लॉग पे अगर उसको पेस्ट करना है, वहाँ प्लीज वो बताइए ना, वो कैसे करेंगे?
सो उसका ऐसे होता है गूगल ड्राइव पे, आई डोंट थिंक इट विल वर्क. क्योंकि हमारा जो गूगल ड्राइव, क्योंकि हमारे में हम फाइल अपलोड कर रहे हैं,
जी।
लेट मी जस्ट ट्राई इट आउट। जनरली होता क्या है, आपको ये आपके वेबसाइट पे अपलोड करवाना पड़ेगा।
अच्छा। ओके।
हाँ, तो अगर वो लोग अपलोड कर देंगे एज एन HTML पेज तो ये चलने लगेगा।
तो एज
अ,
एन HTML पेज हमें हमारे वेबसाइट पे अपलोड करना है,
जी सर, जी सर, तो
फॉर
क्योंकि
एग्जांपल
अगर,
कॉलेज वेबसाइट पे।
जी सर, जी सर,
ओके।
देयर आर कपल ऑफ अदर टूल्स एज।
Hello.
यस सर,
Hello. Hi, Anurag sir.
यस सर।
Very nice session. Let me know about what happened with the data given to AI tool. Is it stored in its cloud or it vanish after completion of task?
सो सर अगेन इट डिपेंड्स ऑन कंपनी टू कंपनी। तो अब जैसे मैं आपको दिखाता हूँ different different companies, how are they handling it, because that's a very relevant question, and I think this is something we should all be careful about. So अब जैसे चैट जीपीटी है, आई थिंक यू कैन सी माई स्क्रीन, यस। सो चैट जीपीटी में अगर हम
Yes.
जाएंगे, तो अगर हम सेटिंग्स में चेक करते हैं, तो इन्होंने एक ऑप्शन दिया हुआ है डेटा कंट्रोल्स का। तो अगर हम डेटा
Yes.
कंट्रोल में देखते हैं, तो देर इज दिस ऑप्शन कॉल्ड इम्प्रूव द मॉडल फॉर एवरीवन। तो अगर ये मॉडल, ये ऑप्शन अगर चेक्ड है, और डिफॉल्ट ये ऑप्शन जनरली चेक्ड रहता है, तो इट इज लाइक अलाउ योर कंटेंट टू बी यूज्ड टू ट्रेन आवर मॉडल व्हिच मेक्स जीपीटी बेटर फॉर यू एंड everybody who uses it, right? We take steps to protect your privacy, बट अगर हमने ये चेक कर रखा है, तो बेसिकली हमने ओपन एआई को परमिशन दे रखी है कि वो लोग हमारा डेटा यूज करके अपना मॉडल ट्रेन कर सकते हैं। तो आई वुड सजेस्ट, अगर हम कोई क्रिटिकल डेटा है जो हम चाहते हैं कि ओपन एआई रिटेन नहीं करे, तो हम इस ऑप्शन को डिसेलेक्ट कर सकते हैं। सो जेमिनाई का भी सेम चीज है। सो जनरली ऑल ऑफ दीज टूल्स आस्क अस इन सेटिंग्स की क्या क्या है, क्या क्या, basically they have given us some levers based on which we have to choose. तो अब जैसे जेमिनाई का लास्ट टाइम आई वाज चेकिंग, दे जनरली रिटेन डेटा फॉर 15 डेज। तो 15 डेज से पहले वो लोग हमको ऑप्शन भी नहीं देते हैं डिलीट करने का। फॉर सम यूजर दे हैव परमिटेड, बट फॉर अदर यूजर्स दे डोंट लेट। तो मेरे को वो लोग डिलीट भी नहीं करने देते हैं, राइट? तो ये हमको वो केस बाय केस बेसिस पे देखना होता है। तो इवन इफ अगर हम परप्लेक्सिटी में देखेंगे, तो परप्लेक्सिटी में, सो ऑल सेटिंग्स, राइट? सो यहाँ पे भी आई हैड सीन इट समवेयर। कहीं पे तो है सर, आई एम नॉट एबल टू फाइंड इट राइट नाउ, बट जनरली सब ऑप्शन देते हैं टू बेसिकली ऑप्ट आउट ऑफ लेटिंग आवर डेटा बी यूज्ड फॉर ट्रेनिंग देयर एआई मॉडल्स।
Okay. Means
Yes.
we need to take care of that before submitting
Yes sir,
data.
yes sir.
And one thing, sir, I want to know, uh, just like research data, if we are using Excel sheet and giving data and doing the analysis by using Excel sheet, and there is a formation of the chart, that chart is my chart, treated as a my chart in my research paper.
Yes
But
sir.
if I give the same data sheet to the AI tool, then that tool also give the analyze figure or chart. So it is treated as my, or it is treated as a AI generated chart?
नो सर, सो जैसे अभी अभी भी जो हमने चार्ट जनरेट किए थे ना, सो ये सब चार्ट जो हैं दे आर गेटिंग जनरेटेड यूजिंग अ कोड। सो नाउ इट डजंट मैटर कि वो कोड मैंने लिखा था कि एआई ने लिखा था, सो दैट्स व्हाई इट इज नॉट कंसिडर्ड एज एआई जनरेटेड।
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
यस सर। Are there any more questions?
Sir, what is AI humanizer?
So मैम, AI humanizer is basically a tool। वो बेसिकली क्या करता है, इट टेक्स AI जनरेटेड कंटेंट एंड अगर हम कोई AI डिटेक्टर में अगर वो कंटेंट डालते हैं, तो इट कम्स आउट एज अ ह्यूमन कंटेंट। बट आई वुड सजेस्ट नॉट टू यूज देम, बिकॉज व्हाट हैपेंस इज, आज ह्यूमनाइजर काम कर रहा है, बट ये जो एल्गोरिथम्स हैं विच डिटेक्ट AI कंटेंट, दे गेट बेटर एंड बेटर ओवर टाइम। तो आज ह्यूमनाइजर करके हमने हमारा कंटेंट कंटेंट ह्यूमनाइज कर दिया और लेट्स से उसने कोई वैलिडेशन भी पास कर लिया, मे बी वो सबमिट रिसर्च जर्नल कहीं पे सबमिट कर रहे थे, वहाँ पे एक्सेप्ट
जी
भी हो गया, बट 1 year डाउन द लाइन अगर वो लोग वो फिर से टेस्ट करेंगे वो रिसर्च पेपर, तो एट दैट टाइम हो सकता है कि वो बोले कि ये AI जनरेटेड कंटेंट है। सो इसीलिए ह्यूमनाइजर्स थोड़ा आई वुड से बी केयरफुल अबाउट इट मैम, एंड डोंट यूज इट इन क्रिटिकल थिंग्स।
ओके सर, थैंक यू सर।
यस
सर
मैम।
अगर हमने कोई चीज पढ़ ली, मान लीजिए कोई स्टडी पढ़ा और उससे रिलेटेड सारे मैटर पढ़े, उसके बाद हम खुद लिख रहे हैं पेपर, तो वो इन्फ्लुएंस हो सकता है उससे, लेकिन एग्जैक्ट वही चीजें हम लिखेंगे नहीं, तो तब वो ठीक है?
हाँ मैम, बट उसमें यही है कि व्हेन यू आर जो एक्नॉलेजमेंट और मेथोडोलॉजी सेक्शन
जी
है उसमें
वो
प्लीज मेंशन कि हाँ इनिशियल एनालिसिस जो था वो
जी
हमने AI यूज करके किया था, लाइक यूजिंग चैट जीपीटी,
ओके
तब
ओके
इश्यूज नहीं होंगे। हाँ
ओके, थैंक यू सर।
यस मैम। So I have provided my contact details on screen, so you can have a look at it. I'll also share this PPT, so you will have these details. Okay.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, sir.
It was very informative and very interesting.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
you,
you,
sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
थैंक यू सर। आई होप
Thank you, sir.
लास्ट 4 सेशंस में आपको कुछ नया कंटेंट जरूर मिला होगा। आई होप आप लोगों ने इसको एंजॉय भी किया होगा और आगे आप इसको परफॉर्म भी करके देखेंगे। तो हम यहाँ पे सर आपका सारा जो भी कंटेंट था वो पूरा कंप्लीट हो गया है ना अभी?
बिल्कुल मैम।
जी जी सर, आपका नंबर पार्टिसिपेंट से लिया है। इफ दे हैव एनी क्वेरी पर्सनली दे कैन कांटेक्ट यू सर।
Definitely, ma'am. I have also shared it on screen. तो यहाँ ये
या
मैंने
यस सर यस।
LinkedIn और सब
तो
कुछ।
यहाँ पे हम रुक सकते हैं सर।
बिल्कुल मैम।
Thank you, sir. Thank you,
So I
madam, for such
extend my
wonderful.
sincere, yes, sir. I extend my sincere thanks to respected Anurag sir once again on behalf of all the participants and on behalf of UGC, MMTTC, RTM, Nagpur University. My heartfelt thanks to respected Anurag sir once again for accepting our invitation and conducting wonderful sessions for all the participants yesterday also and today's sessions also. Thank you so much, Anurag sir, once again on behalf of all of us.
Thank you, ma'am. It was a pleasure. Thank you. Bye bye.
Thank you so much, sir. Good day. Bye bye, sir.
You too. Bye.
सो फ्रेंड्स, आई होप आपको नया इंसाइट कुछ मिला होगा, आपके नॉलेज में कुछ इनपुट जरूर ऐड हुए होंगे। ऐसे ही हम आगे बढ़ते जाएंगे। अभी हम लोग यहाँ पे वी विल स्टॉप फॉर अवर लंच ब्रेक। 1 PM to 1:30 PM will be our lunch break. Then we will start with our seminars. I just say that those who are having seminars for today, they only join at 1:30. Remaining participants नहीं भी join करेंगे तो भी चलेगा, ठीक है? जिनके सेमिनार्स है आप लोग भी ज्वाइन करिए, बाकी लोग आप लोग रिपोर्ट सबमिशन के लिए वगैरह प्रोसीड करिए। हम कल मिलेंगे, कल अपना रेगुलर टाइमिंग है 10:30, ठीक है? टुमारो
Okay, madam. Madam, attendance.
मैम अटेंडेंस ले रहे हैं आप?
है सभी लोग म्यूट कर लीजिए, सभी लोग म्यूट कर लीजिए प्लीज। अभी कोई अटेंडेंस नहीं लेना है, आप अभी मीटिंग को बंद कर सकते हैं। जिनका सेमिनार है वो 1:30 बजे से हम लोग शुरू करेंगे, आप लोग लंच कर लीजिए तब तक। बाकी लोग कल मिलेंगे हम 10:30 बजे, ठीक है?
Yes, madam.
ओके मैम, थैंक यू सो मच।
जिनका सेमिनार है उनको ही ज्वाइन करना है ना, सेमिनार वाले?
हाँ, जिनका सेमिनार है उन्हीं को ज्वाइन करना है सिर्फ। थैंक यू
ओके मैम।
हाँ बोलिए मैडम।
मैम मैंने आज अटेंडेंस में जब भी ट्राई कर रही थी तो मेरा हुआ नहीं था, तो मैं अभी के सेशन में मैं भूल गई, तो मैं अभी अटेंडेंस कर
अभी
सकती हूँ
मार्क
ना?
कर लीजिए, अभी मार्क कर लीजिए, ओपन है अटेंडेंस,
ओके ओके, थैंक यू।
ठीक है? और 1 मिनट, हाँ ठीक है, कोई पार्टिसिपेंट्स अभी है तो थोड़ा ध्यान रखिए। कल अपना सेमिनार का सेशन है, तो कल थोड़ा ज्यादा टाइम मेरे पास है, तो जो लोग विलिंगली देना चाहते हैं, संडे जिनको पॉसिबल नहीं है सेमिनार देना, वो लोग भी कल सेमिनार दे सकते हैं, ठीक है? क्योंकि कल मेरा इवनिंग की बैच नहीं है, तो हम 4 साढ़े 4 तक भी सेमिनार ले सकते हैं। जिन लोगों को संडे अगर नहीं पॉसिबल है या तो कोई विलिंगली कल देना चाहता है, कल की तो टाइम टेबल एज इट इज है ही, उसके अलावा भी अगर कोई पार्टिसिपेंट्स कल देना चाहते हैं तो वो लोग भी कल के लिए रेडी रहना। ठीक है, तो चलिए फ्रेंड्स, यहाँ पे हम लोग लंच कर लेते हैं, 1:30 बजे हम सेमिनार शुरू करते हैं। हाँ धर्मदीपा सर।
अटेंडेंस लिंक जो है क्या मैडम इसमें? नहीं
नहीं, अटेंडेंस नहीं लेना है आज, अटेंडेंस मैंने मार्क कर ली है आप लोगों की। ठीक है
ओके मैडम।
जी, थैंक यू सो मच एवरीवन। 1:30 बजे सेमिनार वाले ज्वाइन करिए।
थैंक यू मैम।
थैंक यू ऑल ऑफ यू।
थैंक यू मैम, बाय।
Thank you, ma'am.